Johnson announced that the classified bipartisan briefing for all House lawmakers on Iran, which was supposed to happen today, has now been delayed to Friday. Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois sits on the House Intelligence Committee, and he joins me now. Congressman, good to have you from your perch on that Select Committee for Intelligence. What's your reaction to the reporting we've seen in multiple outlets about the assessment of the Defense Intelligence Agency?
Look, I don't think you need to read any reports to know that President Trump was lying. We know something about these strikes from past experience. They're very hard to evaluate. They take a long time to evaluate, especially in a denied area. And these are hard, difficult targets, and they're mobile targets. So for the president to say right out of the box that they were all obliterated, anybody who's assessed this in the past knows that he was lying. You know, and I've never done this. I'm going to quote a Republican here. Chairman McCall said, "I've been briefed on this plan in the past, and it was never meant to completely destroy the facilities, but rather cause damage. It was always known to be a temporary setback." Well, I'll add to that, because he's exactly right from my 8 years of experience on even unclassified briefings, that it also takes troops on the ground. You know, if you were going to do this and not take the diplomatic approach, the only way to do this is troops on the ground, which is a war. And those polling numbers that you showed among Republicans being in support of this, I think they'd change pretty dramatically if Trump put troops on the ground. So, in fact, where we are is in a more precarious, dangerous situation as a result.
Just to follow up what you were saying about, 8 years of this, having covered this for a while, and there have been plans to do this and urging to do this for over a decade. Netanyahu has suggested it for over, I think 20 years. It's not like the Iranians didn't know that the Americans know where their main sites are. So, very clearly, there's been some gaming out on the Iranians' side about what to do if the U.S. were to, for instance, send these B-2s with these bunker-busting bombs, right?
Oh, sure. And look, the IAEA said there's got to be at least 30 sites. And don't get us wrong, Iran is a threat, and they can't be allowed to develop a bomb. But what we've seen in the last 10 years is diplomacy did work. Under President Obama, Iran was in compliance. They weren't producing nuclear-grade material. And again, President Trump, with his actions, put us at greater risk. The whole reason we're talking about this today is they pulled out of the deal in which Iran was in compliance, therefore posing this threat again. And the only alternative to diplomacy, cutting through everything else, is a war. It is not going to be accomplished with these simple airstrikes. Those airstrikes are going to create a greater risk for our 40,000 troops and civilians that are in the Middle East, our allies, and, of course, the threat at home. And if anyone has those capabilities, it's the country of Iran.
I want to play for you what the president's envoy, sort of at large, to the region and other places, Steve Witkoff, had to say about the leak. Or the fact that reporters got their hands on the Defense Intelligence Agency assessment. He said it just a little short while ago. I want to get your reaction. Take a listen.
It goes without saying that leaking that type of information, whatever the information, whatever side it comes out on, is outrageous. It's treasonous. So it ought to be investigated, and whoever did it, whoever's responsible for it, should be held accountable.
You think it's treasonous, Congress?
Look, you can't have leaks. They're dangerous. They expose us, and they expose our sources and methods. So I think leaks are a horrible thing. But unfortunately, this administration has lied to the American people. So this information wouldn't have got out otherwise. So it's a horrible situation. History has shown that almost all of leaks like this come from the executive branch. So if the administration wants to investigate this, it's the right thing they should do. It's going to be one of their own. It's going to be somebody either in the military or in the administration that this came out from. But, I can't comment on as to whether it's accurate or not, because it's still classified information. But, I think what we've learned just in how the administration hasn't been transparent, and they outright lied about the initial reaction to it, means the American public should be skeptical and very concerned about the threat that Trump has now created.
Congressman Mike Quigley, who sits on the House Intelligence Committee, thanks for your time tonight.